On this week's show, we're discussing 007's return early next year with First Light, reviews for Hollow Knight Silksong, Cronos The New Dawn, and Hell Is Us. Plus, a Call of Duty movie is officially on the way at Paramount. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly gaming podcast, the GamerGuild Podcast, where we get together every week, every Monday, 8 a.m, to round up all of the week's video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV, or available up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Just search for the GamerGuild Podcast or GamerGuildTV, and you will find us there talking video games every single week. Your podcast players for the week are myself at Arcane Rogue and the man of many pixels at Richie C89. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Do you sometimes find, Chris, when we record one week on the Sunday and the following week on a Friday evening, your week almost feels just compressed?
It does feel compressed, but when we do it on a Friday evening, I always feel like I've got a bit more energy than I do on a morning.
Yeah.
I've had the day, I've been able to get stuff done, the weekend is all but ahead of me.
You've been up more than half an hour before we hit record.
Yes, essentially, yes. And I've not just had a small bowl of cereal. But we do have a great show lined up for you all. And before we get into all that, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and ring-a-ding-ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the great content we do here on the channel, like this very podcast, like our weekly live streams with you, the wonderful community out there, and everything else in between, like Retro Looks Back, which I believe, Richie, there is a Pokemon Blue retro episode that's gone live for members.
It is. I've been promising it. I finally found time to sit down and play.
Professor Oak would be proud. And as I mentioned, we do
I got 2 badges in that episode.
Oh, well done. Well done. He definitely would be proud. And as I mentioned, the weekly live streams, this week we went hell diving. Finally, I managed to pull Richie. Oh, there it is. There it is. Out of his silent slumber into the world of Helldivers. Tonight, actually, we're doing a double bill, aren't we? We're recording this show a little bit earlier, and then we're going straight into a 9 p.m. stream on a Friday night. So maybe we'll get a beer or 2 in, but more importantly, we're going to spread managed democracy across the galaxy, fighting for Super Earth. And I'm looking forward to showing you the ropes, Rich. It's been like a year and a half of me pestering you about this.
You know what? Right now, it was a bargain. It was only 25 quid on Amazon.
I don't think it was that much to begin with. I think it was
Wasn't it like 50 quid?
39.
I thought it was like a 50.
I can't recall now, but it's money well spent.
I haven't, at the time of recording, I haven't played it yet, but at the time you're listening to it, I will have played it.
You will be fully indebted into the world of Helldivers.
Max level and everything.
Maybe not.
No.
But thank you to anyone who did retrospectively join us for that stream. We hope you did enjoy it, because I know Richie certainly did. But we do like to kickstart every single show by talking about what we've been playing this week in video games. So Richie, I feel like we've been playing the same thing potentially, but over to you. What have you been spending the last 7 days twiddling those sticks with?
Well, it's actually only been about 5 days as a point since we last recorded, and I actually haven't really played Metal Gear this week.
No,
I have. This is what I mean. Suddenly it's Friday. It's like, last time I played, I think might have been Monday evening.
Oh, so I might be ahead of you then, maybe now.
Possibly. Basically, where we talked last week is where I'm basically still at.
Remind me on where you were.
I'd met the Russian guy. Yeah, I'm trying Granin.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's his name. I've met him.
Yeah.
And then basically, I'm now in the escape from that area to get up to the next area.
Okay, so if you've not came across the theme tune in game yet, aside from the opening credits.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I've seen the bit. You know the opening kind of like spoiler thing, cinematic, where you see like
everything.
Snake jumps off the cliff with Ocelot standing over him.
Eater. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've seen that bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
trying to remember exactly where I was.
Much like Snake, then I have surpassed you. Like he surpasses the boss. As a student becomes the master, but I've put probably about 5 or 6 hours in. But then again, I'm I guess a bit more well versed than you are. I've played this game 3 times, I think maybe.
You know the story, you know all the beats that's going to happen, and
and the boss fights come thick and fast By the way, once you get
They
past once you leave Granin, I think he's called, I feel like I fought 3 bosses in the space of maybe an hour. And it was like, oh shit, I've took down nearly everyone as part of the Cobra team.
I think it's like one of the first Ocelot fights. Spoilers, by the way. Sorry. You go pretty much straight into the fear.
Yeah, it follows.
You kind of fall down a ravine, climb through a cave, and there you're in the next boss fight. And like, I've literally not seen anyone else before this.
Yeah, the game's very much a case of some little small pocket areas with general soldiers, and then boss fight, which is why the game's like so well revered, because it's just a variety of boss battles, basically like a boss speed run. But yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. I'm fully in. I've had that kind of like little bit of an itch all week, where when I've had an hour or two here, I've been playing it on the Portal. So I've put my little girl to bed, and she just settled down and sat in the dark with nothing to do. It's like, I'm completing missions.
That's what I've not done during the week, where I've only had like an hour here or there, because I want to fully embrace the story, because I don't know it as well as you do. I had about half an hour before coming to record this. It's like, I could have played, but it's like, no, because if I start playing, I won't want to stop.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I was like,
oh well, that's what I've been chipping away at. I know last week I said about defeating a certain boss fight in a certain way, which you will have.
Is it the end?
That you will have met the end by now, because you'll have met him. I believe he's wheeled out on a pier.
Yeah, I've beat the end. I've done the boss fight, and I didn't do it in the certain way.
Okay. Did you know what this? I guess we can talk spoilers, because
I've seen the trophy list. You have to sneak up behind them, don't you? There's one where you have to kill him before the boss fight.
Correct.
And there's one where you have to sneak up on him.
Correct. There is another way of killing him, which still works, and because it's Kojima, what you can do, because he's old as shit. This is spoilers, and I guess hints and tips for anyone who's playing the game, or skip ahead by like 2 minutes. You can go save the game at the start of the boss fight with the end, and quit the game, go into your PlayStation settings, put the manual time and date forward about a week and a half, go back, load the game up, and he dies of old age.
And it actually still works.
And it still works, yeah. It's like,
I suppose, why wouldn't it work? Because that Kojima isn't all about that kind of meta gaming as well. The game is more than the game.
Yeah.
So if you mess with the settings on your PlayStation, basically Snake's been, as far as he's concerned, Snake's been hidden for a week.
Mm-hmm. It's mad how.
And the guy's died.
And it still works. But the other quick tip was when you first see him and he's kind of rolled out onto that pier for the little cutscene, he's kind of left on the pier. Just before you reach the area, if you go left, you can pick up a sniper rifle from the left, like little sneaky track, and you can shoot him when he's just sat there in the wheelchair.
I got the sniper rifle.
All right, okay.
I knew of the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't see him on the pier.
Oh, yeah. So when the cutscene ends, he's sat on the pier for about another 30, 40 seconds, and a soldier comes out, grabs him, and wheels him back in behind the red doors. Yeah.
Maybe I was too slow then, because I didn't see him on that pier, and I end up cleaning that little, because it's a little side area, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's one of those where it's so thinking outside of the box. You wouldn't think to shoot him, because it's like, well, he's a boss, so you don't want to engage with him in case he kicks your ass. And it's like, no, actually, you can just literally shoot him in the head, and all the guys around him go, "What was that?" And then when you get to the area where his boss fight is, it's got Cobra soldiers instead, kind of replace the boss fight. But it's just such a Kojima style, like, outside the box thinking. It's so fun.
I've just remembered where I'm at. I stopped off at the Sorrow boss fight.
You stopped off at it.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. So I think it's like the Sorrow, then you're pretty much into the end game, aren't you? He's the last of the Cobras.
So apparently we're a big enough show for sponsorship now, guys, so check out this ad.
If you like video games, then you can't miss Call Me By Your Game. It's a podcast hosted by me, Sweetie Pie, Connor McCabe, where I invite a guest to share about a special video game from a memorable moment in their life. That's right, it's baked in nostalgia. Was Persona 5 a warm blanket during the pandemic? Did Mario Kart 64 feel like a vacation? Or does Spyro remind you of that winter break with Dad? These are the types of stories told on the podcast. So call me Tetris, Half-Life, or StarCraft 2, it's up to you. Find the show wherever you get your podcasts and get ready to call me by your game.
That timeline doesn't make sense then. Have you fought the Fury yet?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Fury's the one in like the sewer with the fiery jetpack.
Oh, so you will have came across the music then when you go up the giant longest ass ladder and it plays the theme.
That ladder that is just pointlessly long.
Yeah, it just goes on and on and on until she finishes singing.
You literally come into a room, climb up a ladder, then come out of another room, and it's just a ladder between two area transitions for no reason.
It's so random, but all right. Also, yeah, you may be ahead of me. I think I've just defeated the Fury, and
so if you've just defeated the Fury, I'm slightly ahead of you.
I'm trying to think what I've just done after. Yeah, I think I'm about to go into the base where you need to take down the riding looking motherfucker.
Right, so it's after the Fury, it's kind of you do that section. Then your escape ends you with like getting captured by Ocelot, and you jump off the thing, don't you? Yeah. And that's when you start fight. That's when you go into the Sorrow fight.
Yeah. So have you done the Sorrow fight yet? Then?
No, that's where I stopped.
So there's a interesting little another Kojima factoid in the Sorrow fight. There's an element where the game remembers everybody you've killed so far, and that impacts the boss fight. So the more people you've took down throughout your game playthrough, the more different the boss fight will be. I've
not been stealthy, so
well, I guess we'll come back next week.
I've tried to be. I was trying to be stealthy at first because I was so bad at it, and I realised it's a short game. It's going to be multiple playthroughs for the platinum anyway. I'm not going to worry too much about being stealthy. I'm just going to play through the story this time. Get as many collectibles as I can on the way through. And then my next playthrough I'll probably do in Legacy mode and try to be more stealthy.
Interesting. Yeah. Enjoying it though?
I am.
Good. More Kojima. Sometimes I just think the sound effects are like, I'm getting so much nostalgia just from the little clicks and clacks from the menu screen, the grenades, the collection noise, when you kill an animal and it goes, and you get the psst, as it pops up as a ration.
You know what? It's kind of nice playing a game where even like the UI, I can't think of another game that copies it. Well, nowadays, you play most, like, say, open world action RPGs, they pretty much have the same menu systems.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from The Witcher to Assassin's Creed to Ghost of Yotei will probably have basically the same layout. It's nice to play a game and goes, no, your menu's going to be completely different.
Interesting, crazy stuff. But I'm sure we'll talk about more. We'll wax more lyrical as we get into it. But thank you very much. And do let us know in the comments below what you're playing this week. Have you dove into Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta Snake Eater? Have you... Actually, on the side note for that, before we get into the actual news, it has sold over 1 million copies. So it's doing quite well for a remake remaster. So I think we're definitely a shoo-in for either Portable Ops or one getting a remake at some point.
We need to catch up with Rob, see if he's played.
We do actually. Well, we'll catch up with him tomorrow because we're having a wine party. That's right. When you're in your mid-30s, you have a wine drinking day all day. Maybe
to celebrate your birthday.
Taste test. Yes, they're belated, but we will. Thank you to everyone who said happy birthday to me last week as well in our Discord and in the comments. Right, Richie, we have a busy show. We've got quite a couple of news stories and reviews to talk about this week. So, without further delay, could you introduce us to
the graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, a.k.a. The news.
And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes, the members of the channel who support us that extra little bit further, just like you can. From as little as 99p, you get extra stickers and badges next to your name in the live chat, special live sneaky peek exclusives to videos and content such as Richie's Pokemon playthrough and previously my James Bond playthroughs, if you're interested in that kind of content. And of course, it does support a small independent group of lads who like talking about video games, and we've done it for nearly 6 years now. We're coming up on our 6-year anniversary at the end of this month, so it's crazy to think over 6 years ago I sat there in a tiki bar and thought, I want to do a channel, I want to get my friends involved, let's get on with it. RIP Google Stadia. Richie, first story of the week. We got a State of Play, PlayStation State of Play, that dropped on the 3rd of September this past week, and it was a special one where they just kind of focused on one game, and that game in question was IO Interactive's 007 First Light. And after the extensive gameplay, there was about 30-35 minutes of it showing off various different things, it does seem to be a bit pretty much like Hitman mixed with Uncharted, which is... good enough for me from what I saw.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
They took us through the kind of state of play. It has its ups and downs, I'll be honest, because they made the odd choice to start with the opening mission. So they just basically free played through parts of the opening mission from start with no kind of, let's say, creative breaks for the flow of a state of play. So they showed the mission started and Bond gets into a car, drives towards a venue like a big manor house in the middle of a countryside. And they had the dialogue going back and forth between him and his counterpart, talking about what the mission plan is, who they're looking for, what they're there for. And it just went on a little bit too long. Like, nothing was happening. It was just a car driving on a road for about 3 to 4 minutes. And you know, when you think, like, for the sake of a gameplay trailer, and to kickstart it off, I would have maybe started with something a little bit more energetic, or maybe cut ahead to the mission starting properly. Obviously, I'm sure when you're playing it in the moment, you're immersed, you're listening along to the dialogue, it's relevant to you. But it was part of like a global broadcast. It felt like a slow start. And I think if you're not a big Bond fan to begin with, that a lot of people might have jumped out early doors. But aside from that, what I saw, I thought it looked very, very Hitman. It looked very, very James Bond. He still does look a little bit young from what I think any Bond fans have probably used to at this point. But I don't mind about
this. I think it's the art style as well. Is kind of, it's not as realistic as it could be. No, it looks, I don't know how to put my word. It looks good in places, but I think some of the character models don't look quite as good as the scenery. Everything looks maybe a little bit smoother.
That's pretty much what I'd label Hitman as well. I think sometimes the locations look stunningly gorgeous and the NPCs you interact with look a little bit basic. I will compliment them though. A lot of NPCs in the gameplay, especially in the auction house kind of looking place.
That's probably your trade-off there. To get the game running smoothly with that number of NPCs and the amount of systems in play, if it's similar to Hitman, you're not going to be able to get the absolute top-tier fidelity graphics. There has to be trade-offs somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not bad. It's not bad looking. It's one of them. I think it's one of them. It's definitely not like going for like the Fortnite or Breath of the Wild aesthetic where you just look at it and go, "I'm sick of seeing games look like this." So it's one of them where I feel like you'd stop noticing it after 10 minutes.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think it was a little bit choppy in parts, especially when there was a lot of action going on, like explosions and stuff, and as I said, NPCs. Yeah. But again, the game's announced for March 27th, so it's we've got quite a quick turnaround.
Time to polish.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a quick turnaround time, coming early next year. I think March is a good time for it. Again, we're in a world where we're in the absence of a Bond. We don't even know who the next actor is yet, so we're probably several years away from another net entry. So this game's coming at a perfect time where he essentially will be the public-facing Bond for probably upwards of half a decade now in terms of being in the public eye.
Have you seen the rumours that could be Tom Holland because Amazon want to go for a younger Bond? And it's like, I don't know. I just don't like that casting at all.
No, he's got almost like a Pedro Pascal aura about him now where he's in too many things. He can't be Spider-Man and Bond. I enjoyed the Uncharted movie, but every action scene when he gets knocked around, pauses always ended up just going, that's Spider-Man. It's just the way he carries himself. I don't think he quite looks like Bond. He's not like, I know people went on him back and forth about Bond casting anyway, but he's just not as imposing as he should be. If he's a secret agent and he's taking people down with sometimes his bare hands, sometimes his intelligence. Tom Holland has got quite a slim, small frame. Like, again, he did like gymnastics and dancing.
He looks younger than he is.
Yeah, he's a perfect teenage Spider-Man casting, not a secret agent as part of like the MI5. But again, that aside,
it could work though.
Yeah, I mean, I
think he'd have to bulk up though.
I don't
think he could do it with his current physique.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments who you think should play the next James Bond. But in the middle of all that, we'll jump back to the world of assassination. Ironically, the game does give Bond the license to kill, and that's kind of how they get away from the narrative of him absolutely murdering hundreds of people throughout the game. It's that kind of like suspend your disbelief, like with Uncharted, where he's a nice guy. You want to like him. He's quite charming. He's very intelligent, but then at the same time, he does kill hundreds of people throughout the course of this game, probably. And I know MGM buying the Bond franchise, they're a bit wary about him being in a video game. I know when the rights were going back and forth, they're a bit wary about it just ending up being like a Call of Duty mass murder. That's not who Bond is. But then at the end of the day, it is a video game, and you need to kill some goons to make it
Yeah,
engaging feel like an action.
there's got to be action scenes, but it's not going to be a Call of Duty thing. You give it to IO, like you probably give it to probably the safest pair of hands if you want to make it more stealth, to go over more stealth action and go into more systems and more thought-provoking about being an assassin, being a spy.
Yeah,
I actually don't think I could think of a better studio to do it.
Other than Naughty Dog, no, I can't think of another team that I'd really like to get hands on. But in terms of the gameplay, for those who didn't check it out, it showed us basically beautiful vistas. I'm not too sure where it was. It looked like it was in kind of Italy somewhere, and definitely in Europe. And he goes to a mansion, ends up tracking someone, very Hitman style. He's looking for a bellboy dressed person, blonde hair. You infiltrate the building past security guards, you change outfits, you set off traps every now and again to distract security guards, you schmooze one or two ladies to get kind of special access to certain areas of the building, you track them down, cutscenes kick in, you end up doing a car chase. Again, the car chase looked a little bit bland for me. I'm sure in the moment they'll add more, but there was times when you were supposed to be chasing the bad guy and he wasn't on screen and there was no kind of rush, or it just felt like I was out for a casual drive with Bond in this beautiful yellow Aston Martin. And I feel like when the game comes out at launch, they'll probably add loads more dynamic traffic, stuff for you to avoid. But I think for the sake of the showcase, they might have stripped back a little bit just so you could hear the conversation that was going on, the quips and the jokes and we need to get to this point before he leaves. And basically you end up at an airport. There's a big shootout, explosions everywhere. The duck and cover Uncharted-esque mechanics look fantastic. Engage, things exploding all over, things reacting to each other, and some of the takedowns he does in this gameplay footage are brutal. Sliding across car bonnets, taking people out, using the environment around them, hitting them off walls and brickwork and plant pots and everything. Really good fast frenetic gunplay, lock and cover, pretty much a combination Uncharted and Gears, as you would expect. And then he ends up with a massive set piece. Uses the ladder loaders to get onto a plane that's already... It's very Uncharted 3, I'm honest. There's a chase on a runway and he has to try and get onto a plane, and then he ends up getting chucked out of the plane. And it's this is just Uncharted 3. But full circle moment, right? Bond-inspired Indiana Jones, because if I don't know if anyone recalls, Steven Spielberg wanted to do a James Bond, wasn't allowed, so he went off and made Indiana Jones.
Let's make the American Indiana Jones, the American James Bond.
So we got that because of Bond, and then we got Tomb Raider Lara Croft because of that, and then because of that we got Uncharted, and then because of Uncharted we kind of get full circle back to what makes a great Bond game, and it's Naughty Dog's DNA.
Yeah, it really does look like IO went, right, we're going to make a Bond game. What's going to be the DNA of this? We're going to take the base of an Uncharted style game, but then we're going to work some of the mechanics, the ones that make sense out of a World of Assassination trilogy, into that to give it its own kind of blend and to make it very distinctly a Bond game.
Yeah.
And it looks like they've nailed it.
Yeah, looks absolutely fantastic. I'm really happy with the turnaround time. It's nice to know that it's coming out in... 6 months? Just about 6 months.
March the 27th?
6-7 months. So that looks really, really good. Did you see the collector's edition? The $300 collector's edition?
I saw the price. I haven't seen what you get.
Yeah, you get a golden gun in a fancy limited edition stand case. Now, a golden gun from the Man with the Golden Gun James Bond movie, Scaramanga, played by Christopher Lee. I don't know what the gun's made of. They don't really specify, but you do get the deluxe edition of the game with the DLC pack, which includes the Obsidian Gold suit and the golden gun and a couple of gadgets that are gold as well, so that there's clearly a theme. You get exclusive DLC skins, a golden gun figurine with standing secret compartment, a certificate of authenticity, and a steel case with a magnet, so you do get a cool 007 magnet. The steelbook does look quite sick, and the full game disc, which I do approve of because I'm fed up of collector's editions not giving you the damn game with it as well. If you're going to pay $300, you're damn sure I want the game as well included with that. It does look cool. I'm sure die-hard Bond fans will absolutely love this, but it's a bit pricey. Unless it's a genuine solid gold block. I can't justify
But I think that's probably why they do it though. If we're going to do something like a Legacy Edition, they charge an insane price because it's collectible.
Yeah.
The value of what you get isn't there. It doesn't make up to that £300 mark.
Yeah.
But if you are a big James Bond fan or a big collector of stuff like this, you're probably going to be happy to pay it.
Yeah. It's one of those which actually I'm thinking they did a good part through the trailer to not give away who plays the villain. So they actually had the actor who's playing Bond, the young Irish lad, I can't recall his name, introduce kind of his cast members, and they're all played by like real world actors, and obviously you can imagine in this type of world where they do mocap. So yeah, they brought him in to kind of go like introducing M, introducing Q, introducing like other members of the team, and that was quite interesting. But then they did neglect giving us the information of who the villain is. Even the blonde guy who you're chasing in the gameplay footage, they didn't really show off who it was. So I'm wondering if one of their marketing beats is going to be maybe at the Game Awards, they bring out insert celebrity here, and he introduces another like kind of teaser trailer for the game coming this year, coming like early next year, because we'll be 3 months out then. IO usually have a decent presence at. They've got a good relationship with Jeff Keighley. We've seen Hitman showing off several times at Keighley events. I could see them rocking up with a villain, really like famous actor, come the Game Awards and go, he's the Bond villain. And you know what the other thread I'm thinking is? He might be playing Scaramanga, and the reason the golden gun is the collectible is because the villain is going to be the origins of the man with the golden gun. Yeah, in this game.
You know what? In that Legacy Edition, there's no way I'm buying it, but
no.
The golden gun does look actually incredible.
It looks like the golden gun from the movies. So that's why I'm thinking, like, is there threads to pull on here of like, because again, they've got an amazing cast of villains that they could use from Bond Legacy. And the video games tend to do their own thing. I mean, I say the video games tend to do their own thing. One of our channel members, Al Davis Music, who's a huge Bond fan, will know fine well that they've had mixed results with the video Bond villains in the past. They've done Bond Legends, where they brought villains back from all over the different eras. Used to be able to play in the first person ones, and like it's one of the unlockable characters. I remember in GoldenEye, used to run around as Oddjob, and he'd be like smaller than every other character, and he had his one hit kill hat that you could throw. Little things like that are really, really interesting. But if this is going to be like a serious origin story, AAA, story-driven, linear action-adventure game, do they just make their own one? Or do they pull from one of those amazing gallery of villains Bond has? And I think it might be Scaramanga.
I think what they should do is they should pull from the Rogues gallery that's already established in Bond, but tell their own version of these stories. Forget about what's ever happened in the Bond movies and the books. We're going these games, well, hopefully this is the first of them, are going to tell the story of this iteration of James Bond and these versions of the villains.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this a day one purchase for you, do you think, if it's quiet around the March time?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be in the mix. But did you know, Chris, if you got the day one edition of Metal Gear Solid, you got a tuxedo skin?
I did. Did you know your case is also reversible?
I do now.
Yeah, and let's show the crew the reversible cover, because I think
there's the original.
The reversible one looks really cool. I've got it up somewhere. I don't think you can actually see it.
The reversible.
How much better is that?
That's awesome. I had no idea about that.
There you go. So
that's staying reversed.
Everything here on the show. In terms of Bond, I guess for the channel as well, I'm very interested to, similar to when we had the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle come out, which the DLC did come out this week as well, so shout out to that. I've seen a few folks in our Discord server say they're enjoying it very, very much, and I can't wait to get back to it again on PS5 at some point when I've got a bit of a clear run. In terms of games, though, Richie, I'm pretty sure I own nearly every James Bond game on home consoles, bar maybe some of the more obscure ones. So leading up to First Light, part of the channel, most likely for members first, I'm thinking of maybe going through like a history of Bond games and playing them in some kind of sequential order. So you've got 007 Racing on the PlayStation 1, which is a terrible game. You've got some of the greats, like we know GoldenEye, which we've played already on the channel. Everything or Nothing, which is one of my personal favourite ones, which has Willem Dafoe as the bad guy in that game, who is a phenomenal cast for a Bond like villain. If they announced the new Bond actor in the new movie and Willem Dafoe was the bad guy, that would make total sense for me. It'd be a fantastic casting, amazing soundtrack, and Shannon Elizabeth of American Pie fame as the Bond girl. Just to give you a throwback to the early 2000s there. And so I'll jump in. Nightfire, what else is there? Agent Underfire, one of my brother's favourite ones as well. A couple more racing bits. So Plenty of titles to choose from.
Is it Nightfire that was on the PS2 there? PS2 where we played it once round yours with a few drinks, and it seems like every 2 seconds, like the stinger came in. Dun, dun, dun.
No, that was that's Agent Underfire, which is the one that predated it. But yes, it was you open a door.
You just walked down it happened.
Yeah, Agent Underfire was an absolute classic when it comes to James Bond. Yeah. But so I'll get cooking, folks. Let us know in the comments or in our Discord if there's anything in particular you'd like to see. There's so many Bond games out there, and the only one I think I probably won't be able to get on to play is I have James Bond on the original Game Boy. I just have the cartridge. I don't have a clue where the box or the booklet or anything is. I also don't know how I would bloody be able to capture that one, but
I'll sort you out with an emulator.
Oh, Richie's on the ball, because that would be the oldest to date one, I'd imagine. Yeah. I'm sure there's like a PC ancient one or something, like a click adventure game, but we'll keep it quite linear. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Bond, and it's been 14 years I think since we had a proper one, so looking forward to it. Give me everything or nothing. Right, next up, Richie, story number 2 of the week. Insomniac's Wolverine may be finally ready for a reveal at a State of Play rumoured to be this month. The long-awaited PlayStation 5 exclusive from Marvel's Wolverine will be at the next State of Play live stream, according to Insider Gaming. Sources speaking to the outlet claim that the next trailer of the game is ready to go, and it'll almost certainly be part of the State of Play taking place towards the end of the month. Now, usually you would think, actually, we've just had a 007 First Light game, so surely not. However, looking at the cadence of these things, these PlayStation State of Plays, they've done one every end of September, since 2019. So they haven't missed a beat every single year. And realistically, I feel like we are due a look into what the first party is up to, because I know we've been saying it from January, but it's been a quiet year. Like, I'm more than happy with my PS5, but it has been a quiet year on the PlayStation front.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest games is... Sorry, I was yawning. Well, I think one of the biggest games, has been Indiana Jones.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think of, like, if I played any PlayStation exclusive. We had Astrobot at the back end of last year, like September time. Mm-hmm. But we've had nothing from Naughty Dog. Obviously, we've had trailers, but I mean, like, actual releases. We've had nothing from Santa Monica. We've had nothing from Sony Bend. Theirs got cancelled. We've had nothing from Blue Point. Theirs got cancelled. So we've got the Returnal team are working on Saros, is it called? Soros? I can't really remember what their new franchise was. So we've had announcements, but we just haven't had anything. And you know, when it just gets to that point, you know, when you start looking at dates and go, the years are ticking by, and we are actually hearing very little from some of these studios. And all we've had from Wolverine is a trailer where basically he gets his claws out on a bar. We don't get me wrong, we had all the leaks. If you recall, we had like full gameplay footage and missions and how he uses his sniffy senses to explore New York. But realistically, I feel like we are kind of primed. And you got to imagine from a marketing standpoint, going into Golden Quarter Christmas period, you need to hype people up for why you should get your kids a PS5 this Christmas. And I think with the prospect of a Spider-Man, a Intergalactic, Saros, like all these different like first-party IP, you need to start whetting people's appetites, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just flicking through my trophy list. The last PlayStation first party I played was Astrobot. And before then, excluding the fact I did replay a lot of the Uncharted games, all of them actually, in April 2004, I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is not first party, but it is an exclusive.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah.
So it's been a while, actually.
Yeah, my games for this year are similar: Assassin's Creed Shadows,
Final
Expedition
Fantasy
33,
16,
Mafia,
again.
Gears of War, Metal Gear. I did play Sly 2, I think, or was that
Spider-Man 2? Spider-Man 2 is before Astrobot was the last PlayStation Sony first party title I platinumed in November 2023.
Yeah. I played a little bit of the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, which I think we got... Was it back end of last year? Like November time, I think? Because it came out at the same time Horizon Adventures came out, I think.
Yeah. If you're excluding remasters and remakes, though,
Yeah, true. Alan Wake 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Plucky Squire. So yeah, it's going to be like Astrobot and then nothing right back until Helldivers 2.
For me, it's Astrobot. Before that was Spider-Man 2, and then it was God of War, Ragnarok.
Yeah. Obviously,
but all the way back in 2022.
Obviously, we've had the failure of like Concord since then. There have been games that have came and they're just not to our taste. But yeah, for me, it was Helldivers last March. Like, not last March, last March, 2024. Astrobot last September.
Do you remember when we replayed Ghost of Tsushima? That was in 2022.
Oh, mate, I looked at my I looked at my trophies the other day, and I couldn't believe the timeline on some of them. You know, when you think like I felt like I played that yesterday, and it really wasn't.
Stray was 3 years ago.
I mean, like even just looking now, you know, like I like waxed lyrical about Alan Wake 2, and I was like, "Oh, Richie, you should play Alan Wake 2." That feels like I was talking to you on this podcast about that, like yesterday. Like, you need to play Alan Wake 2. It's amazing. It's my game of the year. This or that. That was November 2023. And I was like, that feels like yesterday. That feels like yesterday. I was barely talking about it. Yeah, it's so weird how time works with it. But yeah, Astrobot. I got the Platinum in Astrobot September 2024. So yeah, over a year since we got Astrobot. Yeah, it feels like a blink of an eye ago. So yeah, so Bond will be here in no time. I think Marvel's Wolverine will be here in no time. And I feel like even if it's not here, it's got to be. We need to see more of it, right? Other than them claws in the bar,
it's time.
We've seen nothing more. Like, not even just a teaser. So I think, even if it doesn't make it to this year, I think next summer, I think August, September time, 2026.
I feel like we definitely need to see Wolverine. And potentially even the next Spider-Man game, because that's been a while.
Well, we suspect from the leaks that there might be a smaller, like a Miles Morales-sized Venom title in the works. Because you do, for those who haven't played Spider-Man 2, you do get an opportunity to play as Venom, and his moveset felt way too fleshed out to just be like a small chapter of a full game. And it was like, nah, they've spent time making this character like very, very playable. Which would make sense if they were also prepping a smaller entry where you get to play as Venom for like a whole game, which would be cool.
Yeah, I do feel that it is time for Wolverine.
Yeah,
I think the next main title from Insomniac has got to be Wolverine, because it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean the announcement teaser was 2021.
Yes, it's 4 years since the announcement teaser.
Like, man, remember when we used to get 2 games in 4-year turnaround time? Like, Naughty Dog could put out like Uncharted 2 and 3 in less than 4 years, and here we are waiting for every single title. Yeah, I feel like we need some more first party just to make the PS5 like lift itself up a little bit, because the PS4 I feel like was knocking them out the park. Like every other 6 months was like, he's a banger, he's a banger, he's a banger.
All their studios seem to be in this like nice cadence where they're bringing out might be 3 or 4 bangers a year from different studios, so the 5-6 year turnaround time games didn't feel that long because other studios were picking up the slack. But because of PlayStation switch to games as a service and switch back, I feel we've got a lost couple of years in there.
Yeah, such a shame. But if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Insomniac, because they are definitely the workhorse over there. There are still rumours about a 2.5D God of War game. Realistically, Cory Barlog hasn't been working on anything since before Ragnarok. Remember, he wasn't the game director on Ragnarok. He was just like support producer or something. He did a spin-off studio for... He must have been working on it for 6 years now.
He is the head of the studio, though. So I think... Wasn't he also supervising a different team? So he had 2 teams on the go. One did Ragnarok and one's done something else which you've never heard of.
Yeah, but... I mean, the last time he was fully like in lead of a game, though, was like 2018. When it came out, so he's had a lot of time, I guess, out of the limelight to crack on with whatever it may be. So even just like tell us what it is. Like I would quite happily take a 20-second teaser, just give us the name, give us a vibe of what it's about, and then tell us it's Santa Monica, and then I think that would be hype enough. But I do think we're in a really weird place where we've said on this show many, many times that the first party studios are just stuck in this kind of like reset mode where a lot of them have had projects pulled, a lot of them have had projects cancelled, and they're all probably just trying to figure out what it looks like and how quick they can get something out. I think we'll see another Astrobot before we see a lot of games from Blue Point or Bend.
Yeah, those. I think the studios that have had titles pulled in the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're probably again back to being about maybe 5 years before we see anything significant from them.
Yeah,
because that's just the timeline it is now to produce games.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're several years down the route on one game and then it gets cancelled,
yep,
that's just what I mean. Where there might be, feel like in the PS5 era, we're going to look back and there's going to be maybe a 3 or 4 year barren period where Sony pivoted direction and pivoted back.
Be interesting, and so maybe we'll have to wait a little bit longer, but I for one will be very excited to see a state of play reveal all of Sony's first party, maybe a few surprises in there too, because I don't want to wait forever. Similarly to the fans of Hollow Knight, they seem to be waiting forever as Team Cherry toiled away in the background. Our next story of the week is looking at the reviews for the long-awaited, long-fabled Hollow Knight Silksong. It's finally real. It was announced at Gamescom with a very quick turnaround time to the 4th of September. It launched this week. Normally we would go into the Metacritic reviews for it, Richie. However, the follow-up, which seemed like it was never going to become a reality, had a couple of recent play tests. It launched. However, journalists and creators did not get early access. There are no reviews. There are no Metacritic reviews for this to be found because Team Cherry simply did not give out review codes to critics, which is usually pretty unusual. Like even companies like IGN and Eurogamer didn't get any.
It usually raises question marks over the quality of the game, but in this case, it's different.
Yeah, I think they knew at Team Cherry, but they did explain why they do it. They said, we felt like it'd be unfair to for critics to be playing before our Kickstarter backers and other players, because even though the first one made so much money, sold 11, 12 million units, it's made them an absolute fortune. I think we were discussed maybe 2 weeks ago that it gave them the benefit to take their time with it. They're not a massive team. I think the devs were actually quoted this week basically saying even though they're now probably multi-millionaires, you've got to imagine, because they're just a small team, that they haven't actually done anything. They still work in the same office. They still, I think I said the thing that were quoted saying they still drive the same cars. They've
used the money to fund the development and secure the team. So we don't need a rush because we've got all this money in the bank to pay for your wages for the next 5 years.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the games came out. It broke every store. I think the Nintendo eStore went down, Xbox Store went down. I think the only Steam went down. I think the only one that didn't was the PlayStation Store, which I don't know if it's that's a credit to PlayStation or the less copies were bought there, because Hollow Knight does strike me as a game that would be perfect on the Switch, and PC gamers just buy them extensively on Steam, didn't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, it crashed all over the place. I know one of our guys on the Discord server was saying they tried to play it on xCloud and it just wasn't working. And it's we know why, because the servers will be absolutely maxed out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I know we said last week, and we've said a few times, that we just don't get the hype and it's not for us. I'm absolutely thrilled for Team Cherry. I think the fact 100%. That they didn't even give out codes to critics because they had a promise to the Kickstarter backers is such a piece of integrity that you just don't see in this industry that much anymore.
I bet you, because usually stuff like that, when the press outlets don't get codes and something, you start hearing rumblings going, "Oh, we've got no codes. Is the game problems?" I bet you Team Cherry's reached out to them going, "You're not getting codes. This is why." Mm-hmm. And just told them straight, the reason you're not getting codes is because we don't feel it's fair to our Kickstarter backers.
Yeah.
So you can have a code the day it comes out.
Yeah. If you head over to Metacritic, there are some, I guess, first impressions from the outlets. I'm sure next week we'll have actual review scores, but I listened to 1 or 2 podcasts today, and they kind of are all itching to get back and play it. They almost lamented the fact that they had to sit down and record a podcast because they wanted to go and play a Silksong instead, which is the ultimate. That's absolutely brilliant. In terms of Silksong itself, Richie, I think this might immediately jump in. From what I'm hearing anyway, from anyone who's played it, it is more Silksong. It's more refined. It's a little bit quicker. I think this might be one of them that might sneak in there with Game of the Year, just because it seems to have this ethereal hype that even though we don't get it, this is where I feel am I not the mainstream gamer anymore? When we don't play Elden Ring, we don't play this, it sells, it gets Game of the Year, it sells more copies than anything else.
I'm not. Mainstream gaming now is games as a service. I know where you're coming from here, though. Reading the first line from IGN's kind of in-process review, I've only played 3 hours so far, and I'm already overwhelmed in the best possible way.
It's not a bad start.
There you go. That's a pretty good start to a review. But so, are you going to play it?
Not just yet. I was tempted, but the other night, but then I opted to just play more Metal Gear. I thought I'm enjoying Metal Gear. I've got the itch to play Metal Gear. That can be my distraction for now. I did go.
Then
back
let's go to your tie.
yeah, that's October, isn't it? I did go back and play a little bit of Silksong. I downloaded it on my Switch too because I'm hoping it'll probably run a little bit. I mean, not that it ran bad anyway, the first one, but just get a feel for it. I played about 40 minutes of it, and it was that thing where it's like, it's fun. It's just a Metroidvania. Like, to me, it's like it's got a good bit of exploration. I do feel like I get lost far too often in Hollow Knight, the first one, where like there's a lot of like dead end tunnels that, yes, you sometimes get loot at the end of them, but they don't really give me any reward that merits me exploring as much. And I'm hoping they've maybe remedied that in the second one. I'm not sure what the price is. I'm pretty sure I saw an article saying that it's $20 as well. So I'm kind of like, if it keeps getting that swell, you know, both the reason we both jumped on Expedition 33. When we were talking about it, and then it got all these great reviews, and it was like
it's growing and growing and growing. It's like, we need to give it a go.
Yeah, and ultimately, I still want more things to play on my Switch too. Like, I'm kind of still chipping away at Donkey Kong Bonanza, but having a Game of the Year contender that's only £20, it feels like it's almost like worth a punt just to check it out and to have it, to have and to hold.
See, my problem with getting it on the Switch 2, because I don't own one yet. When I buy a Switch 2, I'm buying Pokemon, I'm buying Mario Kart, and buying Donkey Kong. I'm not buying Silksong because it's just further. It's probably fourth on my list for Switch 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem with Silksong is I do kind of want to play. I want to play the first Hollow Knight because I'm curious why it's such a beloved game. But it's the same with Death Stranding. I'm curious why it's so I do want to play it, but it just doesn't ever seem to be in the right time. Where Expedition 33 came at a time when I was looking for a game to play. It kind of just felt the right moment when I'll give that a go.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on Hollow Knight.
Yeah. And shout out to Team Cherry, though, for doing it seemingly the right way. And by the looks of it, they've got another absolute bona fide hit on their hands. So congratulations. Moving on to our second of 3 reviews this week, we also had the launch of Cronos: The New Dawn from Bloober Team, which is their brand new horror sci-fi entry after the amazing success they had with Silent Hill 2. Reading from some of the reviews, it's currently sat at a 77, which is generally favourable across scores. Giving you a few from, let's find a reputable one. Jewel Shockers gave it a 9 out of 10. They said, Cronos: The New Dawn is the best new horror IP I've played in over a decade. This game not only provides a gripping narrative in an unapologetically Polish setting, but it also offers top-tier survival horror that keeps the players feeling vulnerable throughout. Combat is cumbersome, but in the best way. The game is visually impressive with sublime sound design, and it's a rare example of a game that gets better with each passing moment. A lack of dedicated difficulty mode will ruffle a few feathers. The game isn't without its cheap moments, and I'll admit that I wish it was scarier across the board. But in a genre where established games rule the roost, Bloober Team has just muscled into the conversation, as Cronos is good enough to rub shoulders with the horror greats. Not a bad one. You got any for us, Richie, that you'd like to pull out?
No, Metacritic just isn't loading for me today.
Loaded.
It only loaded so far down.
So I think for me, this is one of those games that it looks really good, and I think because of my now new interest in horror thanks to Resident Evil, I think I would really enjoy this one. And I think Silent Hill 2 wasn't for me because I don't want to start the second game, but it looks like they've took all of the learnings from that and they've done a really clever thing of we can't just rely on known IP that doesn't belong to us, because they obviously lose a lot of money licensing that type of game, but it's give them a lot of, I guess, time behind the scenes to craft their own. And this is basically like Dead Space with time travel, with a sprinkle of like Resident Evil-esque enemies into it. I kind of like the fact that it says it could be scarier, because as someone who's a bit of a coward playing single-player horror games, it bodes quite well.
It's a horror game. It should be scary.
Yeah, but you know, it's like The Last of Us is scary, but it's not horror scary.
Yeah,
I mean, it is to a degree, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you tolerate it because it's not all horror. It needs to let you breathe at certain points, but weirdly enough, the character from this kind of looks like the Fury from Metal Gear Delta and Snake Eater, just because of the astronaut helmet and like the suit that he's wearing, or she wearing. I'm not too sure. Game visually looks great. I'm glad it's reviewing quite well. I do worry for this type of game because of the time it's came out. I feel like, has Hollow Knight just ate its lunch?
I also worry because survival horror is a niche. Is a 77 overall strong enough to get those who are just dabble in survival horror in?
New IP
as
well.
Yeah. Reading from IGN, Cronos New Dawn presents an intriguing mystery to unravel and a creepy sci-fi hellscape to explore, with run-of-the-mill combat system prevented from stepping out the shadows cast by survival horror heavyweights like Dead Space and Resident Evil 4. Its oppressively bleak environments are rich with interesting details to pore over, and a handful of its boss fights provoke a level of desperation that make them genuinely thrilling to survive. But elsewhere, there's clear padding that trips up the story momentum from considerable stretches at a time, and its predictable shock tactics are a step down from Silent Hill 2's genuine scares. Like a traveler's corpse that's trapped inside a temporal apocalypse, Cronos The New Dawn contains the essence of a survival horror, but there's not quite enough spark in it to really bring it to life, and they've given it a 70.
So basically, more negative than a 7.
Yeah, I'm reading that as there's some good stuff in there, but it's kind of not bad, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not standing out in the genre.
Yeah. It's got quite a good few. It's like when I look at the reviews, I tend to look at like the more reputable reviewers, like who I know have got like a trusted opinion. Push Square gave it an 8 out of 10. So again, I think when you're on these scales of like 77 is almost practically an 8, and that's when I think you need to stop reading too much into the numbers. Yeah, and starting like Game Informer gave it a 78, which is like it's close enough to be an 8 out of 10. But I think you're right in saying, unfortunately, 8 out of 10 doesn't get the traction it would probably want in such a saturated market, especially with horror. Hopefully, it'll see a bit of a boon as we head into October, spooky season, Halloween. It might do really well, maybe with like a special discount sale or like a marketing push come the end of next month. But yeah, I do worry that it's coming out maybe at a time of the year when you're going to get all the big guns come out, and it just kind of gets lost in the mix a little bit, because as much as it's nowhere near the same as Hollow Knight, I think you and me play like working our way through Metal Gear at the moment. You've still got Gears of War, so you've got a lot of like nostalgia kicking around right now. You've got all the sports franchises about to launch. Madden, FIFA's about to come out as well, and then in and amongst this, you're like, here's a brand new horror IP. When people know Resident Evil's on the horizon as well, like how many people are like, I'll just hold off a few more months and the new Resident Evil will be out. So,
well, this is why I don't understand why the marketing teams in survival horror games don't go, well, the game's coming out in September. It's like, why not just push it a month? Bring it out at the end of October, and we'll absolutely hammer the marketing around Halloween. Make it the Halloween game.
Yeah.
So make it that game synonymous with Halloween 2025.
Yeah, do it.
And then all the streamers in the world will be playing it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's spooky.
And you could, but it comes out now, and it's done okay.
Yeah.
It's not exceptional. By Halloween, people may have forgotten about it.
Yeah, that is always the risk, especially because it's from a smaller studio
yeah.
who probably don't have the marketing budget to throw around to keep it in the like kind of the mind's eye. Although we won't talk about mind's eye.
And with horror games as well, you want to play them when it's dark outside. It's not quite there yet.
Not in this country, not yet.
Yeah, not
yet. In terms of it, the other thing I think that might, weirdly enough, cannibalize themselves is Hell Is Us also launched this week. And from a visual standpoint, I think Hell Is Us looks very, very similar, albeit it's not set in Space Poland.
We talked about this last week, didn't we?
It
similarities
does
between
looks
them.
The same. However, Hell Is Us also reviewing quite well. Reading from Metacritic again, it's currently sat with a generally favorable review of 78. So pretty much on par with Cronos The New Dawn. Push Square gave it a 9 out of 10. They said, with an incredible dense lore and a labyrinthian level design, Hell Is Us is a captivating experience. The game takes its solid but tough combat and chin-scratching puzzles and elevates them with a century-spanning mystery that goes deeper and deeper. Its hands-off approach means there's a huge emphasis on the world. Thankfully, Rogue Factor does not disappoint. It's not going to be for everyone, but for those that love a good lore-filled mystery, this is a PlayStation 5 must-play.
Nice.
That's from Push Square. I'll read another one from Dual Shockers. They give it an 8.5. They said, Hell is Us is a rare gem that we don't normally see in the gaming industry. It's more than a game that simply doesn't just have waypoints or quest markers. Instead, it's an engaging experience that truly trusts the player's intelligence, curiosity, and active listening. Figuring out how to progress the main story or its side quests through pure investigative work is immensely satisfying and constantly rewarding, to the point that I couldn't put the controller down. It feels as if Rogue Factor has created its own genre in a way, similar to how FromSoft spawned Souls-likes. The game's only true disappointment is the lack of enemy variety and minimal bosses, which can result in the combat growing stale pretty quickly. So for those who aren't too familiar with Hell is Us, this is where I believe someone loses their family and they have to kind of almost like go back to find them. And in doing so, you have to interact with people, so there's no mini-map. So it is very much a case of you explore the environment, you interact with people. And I was listening to the Kinda Funny review, and they said if you don't do things in a timely manner, they will move on. So like one of the side quests, I think there was a lady asked you to go help find maybe some milk or something for the kid, and then if you leave it too long and you go back, they've either moved on or they've died or something's happened. It's like,
I can see how that could be divisive in terms of if you want a fully immersive experience where you're in that world, you're going to have a great time with something like that. If you are someone who likes to have a quest list and check things off at your leisure and do things to your own leisure and have a map that you can follow and have all the kind of gamified stuff, you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Which actually explains, that's explained the Eurogamer review I saw.
What was the Eurogamer one?
It's literally a sentence. On Metacritic, Hell is Us is an absorbing, nightmarish mediation of the horror of war, but divisive design choices prove tedious. And they give it a 60. So that's what it means. Like, I was wondering what they meant by that divisive stuff, but if it is like, if you're not fully engrossed in that world, you're going to miss a lot of it and you're not going to know what's happening. It's not follow a waypoint to complete the next item in your checklist of your quest log.
Yeah, if you're not giving it your full attention, you might just get a little bit frustrated with it because, I think with video games, like it's quite irritating in a way because video games have become such a checklist of just follow the marker on the map, go to a cutscene triggers, and then you go to A to B, and then cutscene triggers, and then you get your mission complete and your XP and your points.
I like when games do different stuff.
Yeah, I do. I think
it might not always be for me, but I always appreciate it when a game isn't just the same open world action RPG that 90% of games have become, that are not games as a service.
It does sound though like
there's games in that genre I'm really looking forward to. Ghost of Yotai, but Ghost of Yotai is going to be an open world game. Yeah. You're gonna have a quest list, you're gonna have a map with checkpoints to check off. So it's nice to see games that do different stuff because variety is the spice of life.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like they've got the kind of the map design like nailed down. Like I was listening to Greg Miller's review and he was saying that he felt after playing it for several hours, like you felt like he knew where everything was. So like going left at this junction will take me back to this person I spoke to, or getting it like Metroidvania style. When I get this key to unlock takes me back to an original area. He, in his mind's eye, he could piece together the map and where he was going and which direction. And without a mini map, that's quite complementary to level design, where they've done it so well that you actually kind of become familiar with your environment, enough where you know what landmarks you're looking out for, you know where to go at each junction. But then, it does seem like enemy variety and combats let them down a little bit. But that's when I would always think if it did well and they spawned a sequel, you would expect that to be elevated a little bit in a sequel. So interesting stuff.
Especially if that's what the biggest criticism is, the variety of enemy, maybe the boss fights could do with the bit by run of the mill. Like when you do a sequel, you go, right, this is what we need to nail next time.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's coming out. So you've got your choice of Hell is Us, Cronos the New Dawn, or Hollow Knight Silksong. So quite a decent mix of variety there. One thing you won't be seeing anytime soon, though, is Perfect Dark, which we know was cancelled. However, a new story emerged this week that Take-Two, almost saved the game. So according to reports from Bloomberg and Jason Schreier, the publishing giant was in talks with Embracer, which owns the Perfect Dark co-development studio Crystal Dynamics, who was working on the project with Microsoft, so a couple of hoops to jump through there. Had the deal gone through, would have planned to take it over to Take-Two, and who would fund and publish Perfect Dark for themselves. However, according to the report, the deal was ultimately never realised due to disagreements over long-term ownership of the Perfect Dark franchise. Crystal Dynamics were therefore forced to abandon the game and lay staff off towards the end of last month. So it sounds like the ownership rights aren't fully owned by Microsoft. It's in some partnership with Embracer, and they just couldn't come to terms with it. Take-Two look like they want to step in and go, you know what, we'll sort this one out, but it just seems like another one of them big
It feels like they've come in and go, look, we like the idea of the game, we'll buy it, and all three parties haven't been able to come to an agreement.
Yeah, it's one of them where you wonder, because the game was so far in development, you think if you're like an investor and you go, well, I think there's a demand for Perfect Dark, the game's like 50-60% done. Like, that's got to be a shrewd investment if you think if it's sold well.
Reading from the Eurogame article, the reboot didn't have a smooth time of things. However, and in 2023, it was said little meaningful progress had been made. In 2024, it was then said Perfect Dark had become a big protracted mess and was in a rough state. So by last year, the game, although it was at that point 4 years in development, seemingly hadn't made significant progress to being playable.
Yeah. It's a shame. I can see why Embrace would want to get in on that and like do it. I mean, to be fair, it's one of those things where right now it seemed like Take-Two couldn't make it work. However, we've seen other things, like far worse things happen. We know Ghostwire Tokyo Studio, Tango, was shut down after they put out like a decent game in Ghostwire Tokyo, and then an even better game in Hi-Fi Rush, and then they were shut down still. But they were saved by Crafton, who came in and bought them and bought the rights for it. So I think even though it feels like one of them franchises where it's so beloved and it's got so much nostalgia attached to it, I think it will be back in some form in our lifetime. I don't know when.
Yeah, I think so.
I could see it being saved still. Like I saw enough from when you and me saw that trailer. I think it was Game Awards. I think we were both like very impressed by just the dynamics of how it looked like a bit of Mirror's Edge meets Far Cry meets like obviously Perfect Dark. It just looked fun and dynamic, and I was genuinely interested in it.
I've got a feeling that these conversations between Take-Two and Embracer and Microsoft are not over. That this iteration of the game is dead and done. Yeah. It's not coming back. But the rights to the Perfect Dark franchise, an agreement although agreement wasn't made in time to save this game, might be made down the line.
Yeah, interesting.
And this actually could be what Take-Two need, where because they tried to make a game and failed, the asset is diminished so they can get it cheaper and then take it and do their own thing.
Yeah, quite possibly. We did get the Perfect Dark, not remaster, but we had the GoldenEye one that came out on Game Pass.
Yes.
I feel like we saw Perfect Dark, one of them. I'm sure Al Davis Music in the chat will correct us, because of course Perfect Dark, famed for being the spiritual successor to GoldenEye, and in a lot of people's opinion, better than GoldenEye.
Yeah, Perfect Dark came with the mature N64 Classics app for the Switch. Yeah. I think it has like 2 games on it, Perfect Dark and Turok.
Wow, 2 game list, yeah. I mean, the Switch not notorious for its 18 plus.
It might have more now, but at the time I think it was just Perfect Dark and Turok on there.
Yeah, I was just really intrigued. Again, as someone who's never played Perfect Dark, the trailer and the gameplay that they showed off just really intrigued me. So it's one of those that may be lost to time, but it may also show up and surprise everyone at some point in the months or years to come. But under a different banner, of course. Right, moving on from Perfect Dark into some analytics, Richie. I found a really good, I guess it's a forum page, a blog post from someone today. It was from a pure Xbox article, but then it led into the actual data, which is just a source on Substack, where someone's just like collected the data and they crunched the numbers, and it's really, really insightful. So I put both links in because initially it was a conversation around the performance of Gears of War Reloaded and how it's tracking quite well behind Forza Horizon 5. Looking at the statistics so far, it shows that Gears of War Reloaded has sold just north of 250,000 copies on PlayStation, whereas at the same time, over the same period, Forza Horizon 5 had sold 1.5 million copies. Now that goes over to, I guess, the conversation being, is Gears of War as big as maybe we'd have thought? Or has the bubble been burst a bit? Was putting out a 20-year-old game the smartest move? Or should they have just held off and launched E-Day first, maybe? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't even know if these are terrible numbers. Cause bear in mind, Forza Horizon 5 is the most recent Forza game. This is it's a remaster that's already been done. This is the second time the original Gear Wars has been remastered.
Yeah, true.
So maybe there just isn't as much massive interest in it because a lot of people who are fans of Gears have already played it or willing to wait to play it to later. Because if you're a massive Gears of War fan, you've got Game Pass. You don't need to play this day one.
Yeah. I mean, we should also point out there was 1.3 million people roughly downloaded it on Game Pass. So, again, it's a large chunk of people who may have cashed out for it, who just committed to Game Pass and got it that way. This is where, like, the Microsoft model, you can read into it somewhat a little bit deeper. On the flip side of that, to keep things interesting, Helldivers 2, which debuted on Xbox for the first time, and that one sold 926,000 copies in 6 days. So it's almost sold triple the number Gears of War. In fact, it has sold triple the number Gears of War sold.
What I find interesting
not an
from
old
this
game.
analytics substack is Peak in August.
Peak's huge, yeah.
I've never heard of it.
It's like a climbing game with friends.
Yeah,
but it's one of those like indie ones that went on Steam, and it's just got all the streamers playing it at the moment.
Yeah, because it's got 4 million Delta Force Hawk Ops as well.
Yeah, we'll probably end up playing it at some point. It's basically like a cartoon game where I believe, don't hold me to this because I've not seen fully, but I believe the microphones are proximity based. That's the word I was looking for. So you have like these colorful like daft cartoon characters, and you have to climb up like some kind of mountain range or obstacle. But if like I'm climbing up with you and we're playing together online, and if I lose my footing and fall, like you'll hear me go like and it'll actually like it'll keep your proximity. So apparently there's loads of humor in that. You can like help each other up with like items and stuff, but it's one of them where it's just took the internet by storm, and people are playing it, people are loving it, and it's doing amazing numbers, and it's at a really good cheap price point as well. So no surprise there. It's got a little bit of the like Human Fall Flat, Gang Beast kind of vibe to it as well.
The kind of comedy physics to it.
Yeah, which I could see totally work, and it looks like quite whimsical and fun, to be fair. We'll probably do a stream on it at some point. But in terms of the analytics, it's interesting just to see how games perform across the board. And I think we had no surprise Horizon was going to do so well. Is there something, do you think, to be said about the price point of Gears? Forza came out like full price, and then Gears came out at arguably a cheap, more reasonable price of $34.99. And is it almost like undersold itself? Where I feel like if they put the game out at 45 or 50, it probably would have sold the same amount of numbers.
Maybe. You're probably right there. I think it's just, I do think it is a case of it's an old game.
But Julie, it was
I know it's a remaster.
Like, on like PlayStation for the first time in history, Xbox exclusive Gears of War remastered coming over, and it does $250,000.
With Game Pass, if you really want to play Gears, you've probably played Gears.
But if you've got a PlayStation, you might never have played it. You've only ever heard of it.
Yeah, true. But if you've only played PlayStation, you might not even care. I don't know. I think it is a difficult one. A lot of people, PlayStation gamers, may have heard of Gears, may be interested in it, and they're playing Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Yeah, true. Could just be a
or wait, saving the money for Ghost of Yotai.
Yeah, true. It'll be interesting to see if Gears E-Day does launch day and date. Like, would that get a bigger hype? Because, like, brand new game, AAA, 2026, presumably.
Yeah.
Crossplay multiplayer as well, Horde mode, all of those amazing features. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Because I'm kind of there for Gears E-Day Day 1, but I'll be playing it on Game Pass, so I won't be buying it on PlayStation. But not everybody has the luxury of having two consoles and stuff. So, and I enjoyed my playthrough of Gears. It was old games old in a lot of ways, but I finished it midweek or something, then I pivoted over to Delta.
And as we've just said, August's most downloadable games are Peak, an indie game that's massive with streamers, which I had no idea existed, and Delta Force Hawk Ops, which is a free-to-play extraction shooter.
From Tencent as well.
Yeah. Then it's Grounded 2, Madden 26, and NBA 2K 26.
Yeah.
So it's like none of them 5 games I'm playing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
We should play Grounded.
We should. You know what I do want to do a special shout out for though as well? Mafia the Old Country. Seemingly
that as well.
Sold 1.2 million copies. 643,000 on PlayStation, 337 on Steam, 17,000 on Xbox. So it's interesting how the demographics are split, isn't it? Like Mafia to me felt like a PlayStation game, third person, single linear adventure. And then it sold the best on PlayStation. It's weird how like those audiences just gravitate towards different platforms. And then just Xbox numbers. We don't know how many Xboxes are out there in the wild. So it's like, are these numbers skewed because there's not as many players? Or is it because it's not on Game Pass and now all Xbox exclusive players are just like, well, if it ain't for free, I'm not buying it. And like, how does that happen? But then again, on the flip side, Helldivers came out and has sold nearly 1 million units as well. So, and that's a paid for box.
True, but Helldivers has a huge hype that it got when it came to PlayStation and PC and did incredibly well. So a lot of Xbox gamers have been sat there waiting, hoping that it'd come, and it came. True. I don't think Gears has that same expectation. I think a lot of PlayStation gamers will go, like me, it's really nice to have it over on PlayStation. Yeah. And I may, if I wanted to replay through Gears, I probably would fork out the money for it.
Yeah.
But I'm okay for now. Yeah. I've recently played on stream the first Gears game. I don't feel the need to rush out and play this game again.
Yeah, there's some someone could definitely write a dissertation on the sales flow of the games industry when you look at like the kind of wider scope of things. Just Metal Gear Solid Delta on PlayStation specifically, 281,000, whereas Gears is on 241. So it's like you've got two nostalgic older titles. Obviously, Metal Gear's got that history with PlayStation as well. But yeah, Metal Gear selling 281. I'd imagine that's going to have a good like kind of like long tail on it as we head in towards next month as well.
You know,
different price points.
That'd be a brilliant dissertation if you're studying a degree in marketing, and you decide to write your dissertation on sales trends in the gaming industry, comparing different genres and different methods of marketing, including things like streamers. You would get a top job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Market analysis. It's probably this person here, but yeah, like they putting it into context. They go into the article and say like Gears of War Reloaded $40, Mafia the Old Country $50. So. But bad timing or bad pricing? Two of the year's bestsellers, Expedition 33 and Split Fiction, both $50. Meanwhile, Metal Gear Solid, the Volume 1 Master Collection, included 5 main entries of the franchise, including Snake Eater, which just came out, $60. So it does tend to see that there's like such an up and flow. And then it almost points to like Metal Gear Solid Delta should have been 60 max, but then they went full price on it. So it's like, okay, is there a price drop that would better sell it? Like, it's really interesting, the marketing across these of like how things like ebb and flow and go up and down with it. But you know what?
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for the perception of the game and the quantity and quality of it. So the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, you're getting a lot of games there for the same $60. Well, with Metal Gear Solid Delta, it's a remake of the game, but done with modern sensibilities without losing the essence of what made the game great to begin with.
Absolutely.
So is that worth the price? So you're getting less game, but the quality of the game is arguably much significantly higher. Yeah.
And then you've got all the fanboys who'll just buy it anywhere. But yeah, the one you mentioned, Delta Force, Tencent, 3.7 million units. Impressive for a free tactical shooter that I've never heard of until probably this week.
Its reviews aren't great on Steam. I think it's like a middling in terms of its reviews. But because it's free to play, a lot of people are willing to give it a go.
But that's where it goes back to, like, is it the price?
That's where you need to look at active players rather than just total.
Is it the visuals? Is it the branding? Is it the marketing? Is it in the wake of people wanting maybe a new Battlefield or Call of Duty? People are like, oh, you know what, this kind of looks like it. Is it the name? Is Delta Force a cool enough name that people are like, hey, that sounds right, and it works? But yeah, love the analytics. Shout out to Alinea, I think it says, Alinea, Insights newsletter. I've actually signed us up for it, Richie, via the Gamer Guild email, just to think like there's actually a lot of interest and talking points in there that probably will benefit us on a monthly cadence if we get them regular. So he's to that one. Speaking of a regular cadence, or maybe not so much, we got a tweet and a social media post this week from the Rayman account, which has been dormant for absolutely years up until this point. And then we got a tweet basically talking about the Rayman celebrating his 30th anniversary. So even though he doesn't have any arms or legs, he did turn 30. And they're kicking off with a special message from Ubisoft Montpellier that was part of a broadcast live event talking about Rayman. And they said they are ready to dive into the world of Rayman like never before. Throughout the months to come, we'll be sharing exclusive concept art, behind-the-scenes developer interviews, monthly giveaways, fan creations, and much more as we lead towards the next Rayman project. Now, if you recall, Richie, the Ubisoft team were pulled together from the ashes of the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown team. After the amazing launch of their fantastic game, they then ripped the team apart and then started to piece them back together and say, let's go work on a Rayman game. So he put out a message also saying the very talented team at Ubisoft Montpellier and Ubisoft Milan are currently working on the future of Rayman. Don't expect any news too soon, but rest assured Rayman is in good hands. The composer for the series also appeared in the video, so fans who have enjoyed the music of the last couple of entries says it's nice to be back. He loves them very much and he's going to do a great entry for the next one. But yeah, even though it was one of Ubisoft's defining IPs, I would say, of the PlayStation era, we've not seen Rayman in a while. I think Rayman Legends was the last one.
Rayman Legends was released on Windows, PS3, Wii U, Xbox 360 and PS Vita in 2013. It came to PS4 and Xbox One in 2014. Nintendo Switch in 2017. And Stadia gets a mention on the Rayman Wiki 2021.
Yeah. Did you ever play Rayman Legends?
No. It's been 12 years since the last release.
Jeez, that's mad, isn't it? So even though it's his 30th anniversary, he hasn't had a game in nearly half that time.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's kind of maddening, actually. I think it's one of their like biggest platform mascots, and they've just kind of like left him.
To make matters worse, actually, Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc came out in 2003. Rayman Origins came out in 2011. So he'd already had an 8-year break.
Well, if I recall, Legends was well received because it actually had the full Origins game within it. I'm sure you go into like a different like subworld and it's locked in there. I'm sure I own Rayman Legends on like 3 platforms now, maybe.
You probably do.
Definitely great on the Switch.
But reviews, like quick glance at 89 out of 100 PC. This is Metacritic reviews. Whenever the wiki page was added for Legends.
Yep.
Wii U. Got 92, PS3 91, Xbox 360 90. These are solid.
It's a good game. Like it's a good game, and it uses.
It's a 9 out of 10 game.
There's a really early level which you'll really appreciate, and it's as you run around as Rayman. Like you'll remember from playing Rayman on PlayStation. Like there's a lot of like music kind of sprinkled into the Rayman world, where like you'll jump around on creatures and animals, and they'll make musical sounds. I think there's even a level in the first game where like all the villains that are attacking are like giant saxophones in the clouds and stuff like that. There's a level in this one, I think maybe like the second or third one, where as you're sliding down a ramp and you're jumping on like essentially like drums and tambourines and stuff, and you're escaping and avoiding enemies, and it's to the Black Betty song. Whoa, Black Betty, bam, lamb, whoa, and it's like that music, and as you're like hitting off things, going dun 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 dun, and the guitars in the background, it's really frenetic and fast, and it's a Rayman game, but it's got Black Betty playing in the background. It's like, what am I playing right now? But that's one of the best levels I've played in a platformer in my life. So, shout out to Rayman. Hopefully, we'll see more soon. But it's good to know that the old boy is not dead. He's still got life in him yet, as a 30-something-year-old. Rounding out this week's show, Richie, we've got a couple of movie and TV series tie-ins to talk about. A live action, kicking things off. Call of Duty adaptation is officially in the works at Paramount, having signed a deal with Activision Blizzard. They're now under the media company Skydance. They've announced the news via Deadline, as CEO David Ellison, a big fan of the series apparently, is going to work as a creative partner on the film. And I quote, "As a lifelong fan of Call of Duty, this is truly a dream come true. For the first Allied campaigns in the original Call of Duty through Modern Warfare and Black Ops, I've spent countless hours playing this franchise that I absolutely love. Being entrusted by Activision and the players worldwide to bring this extraordinary storytelling universe to the big screen is both an honour and a responsibility that we do not take lightly." The film is going to follow the studio's 2022 Top Gun Maverick. We're approaching the film with the same discipline, uncompromising commitment to the excellence that guided our work on Top Gun Maverick, ensuring it meets the exceptionally high quality standards this franchise and fans deserve. He continued, "I can promise that we are resolute in our mission to deliver a cinematic experience that honours the legacy of this one-in-a-million brand, thrilling lifelong fans of Call of Duty while captivating a whole new generation." So, seemingly, gaming movies adaptations continue, and Call of Duty is ripe for the picking, Richie. Where do they even start with that, do you think? Are they doing a Black Ops? Do we get zombies? Do we go Modern Warfare? Do we get killing everyone at the airport? Or is that just too much for TV and movies?
If it was me, I think I would probably go with a retelling of Modern Warfare, or leaning heavily the story of Modern Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare as my basis, because I feel that's where the narrative was at its strongest. Modern fans may argue Black Ops is stronger now, but from when I was playing lots of Call of Duty, I always felt Modern Warfare was at the strength with
peak.
Like the most iconic characters, with things like Soap and what do you call it, Captain Price.
Most iconic characters like Soap, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
yeah,
you're right.
Captain Price.
Captain Price, yeah.
Like I feel like them characters are more memorable than other entries.
A similar thing goes for like levels and set pieces as well. I think if you're doing a movie with epic set pieces, you could pull out some phenomenal moments from the Modern Warfare series to be like, right, relive like the explosion in the helicopter, the betrayal, the radioactive, like just getting to the Chernobyl part and the playground, like the apartment complex area in Chernobyl that you go to. I think you're right. I think it's a good starting point. It would get the fan base, I think, on your side, recreating some of those elements too. I think if the risk going like something crazy like World at War, they'd be a bit foolish because I think people think Call of Duty is definitely more Modern Warfare than old school.
If you went World at War, you just feel like you might just be doing another World War II flick, and it's been done to death.
Yeah, we've had, and especially when you're going up against like the likes of Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk and Saving Private Ryan, as far as war flicks goes, like it's a high bar set for that kind of stuff.
You know what I think I would do? I can almost, when you can almost see it in your head, like
spin-offs.
So going with Call of Duty 4, that like the level where you go back in time, where you mentioned with going through Chernobyl, start the film at the sniper point.
Oh, okay, so do a bit of like,
and then so that you're having the sniper point, then the escape and like the fight at the Ferris wheel, and then there's your title card.
Okay, interesting.
And then you move forward to like Soap's initiation.
All right, I like it.
So you're doing it out of order, but I feel like that would be just a good opening to a film.
Yeah, I could see that going there. Yeah. I could also see a world where if the movies do successful, like with the Modern Warfare guys, we get Call of Duty like typical like a spin-off. So like you get like
Makarov
Makarov, the Russian, and then you get your standard spin-off of like World at War, Vietnam stories, and they're just like subsequent Call of Duty movies that come out in between the big ones. Like Avengers, you've got your big Modern Warfare's your Avengers tentpole movie, and then the years in between you get a bit of World at War, bit of Black Ops maybe or something. I don't know, Black Ops could be like another series unto itself, but there's clearly money there. Video game adaptations are huge right now, so no surprise. Moving on to our next one of the week, though, we've got Game of Thrones star has been finally announced as our brand new Tomb Raider. That's right. X-Men fame Sophie Turner from House Stark has been confirmed as the role of Lara Croft for the upcoming Tomb Raider TV series over at Amazon, which live-action production will begin January next year, with Phoebe Waller-Bridger creating and writing it, as well as sharing executive producer role with Chad Hodge, and Jonathan Van Tulken of Top Boy and Shogun fame, which Shogun's the only thing that kind of makes me think this could be decent, but this is in partnership with Amazon MGM Studios as well, so I kind of have faith in them because of how well they looked after Fallout. But I just hope they're maybe not getting a little bit too big for their britches with these video game adaptations and going all out. And I don't know about you, I like Sophie Turner, but I don't think...
I don't see her as Lara Croft.
I don't see her as Lara Croft, yeah. And I'm willing to be proven wrong. I definitely give Reggie a chance. But yeah, there's just something about her performances, like especially in her performance in X-Men, the Phoenix Saga movies. They were rough watching in terms of that. I'm sure it was probably just a script and direction, but I don't know. I'm still stuck in this weird limbo place where I'm kind of annoyed that we haven't got another Tomb Raider game yet still.
I feel, where it feels like they've went for the Hollywood cast rather than going for the perfect cast.
Yeah.
They've went for the name. That's where I feel I don't see it at all. Again, like you, I'm hoping to be proven wrong. But I've never seen her act in anything where I looked at her and go, she could be Lara Croft.
Yeah.
Maisie Williams, I reckon, would do a better job.
Yeah.
One of her co-stars from... Yeah, but...
Kind of like Tom Holland problem where she's not as imposing as you want her to be as Lara.
But can you see, like, Sophie Turner pulling off, like, the Lara Croft-esque quips and stuff?
That's my problem, is, like, as good as she was in Game of Thrones, her character played a very
good actress.
Stoic, cold role, and that clearly worked for her. But yeah, everything I've seen her in since, like, unless someone can recommend in the comments below, like, something like, no, go watch this, she's terrific, she plays, like, drama and vulnerability. And when I think of all, like, the emotions that, especially, like, the reboot with Lara we saw in the reboot trilogy, she was written so well in terms of, like, living, like, her soul was on her sleeve, and she was, like, in pain. She went through some tough moments, big learning curves, but she was still intelligent and like, fought hard to survive, and, like, she just showed all the characteristics of a survivor and a Tomb Raider, seemingly. But I mean, I don't mind. I like seeing video game adaptations come to life. It keeps the franchises alive. Honestly, I didn't mind the Alicia Vikander movie. I felt like she definitely deserved a run ago. It's a solid movie. It's got Walton Goggins of Fallout fame as the villain in it. And I enjoyed the Angelina Jolie ones as well for back in the days, what they were as a kid. They were definitely more campy, James Bond-esque back in the early 2000s. But yeah, I just felt like if you're going to do a series and you're going to do it like dark and grittier, like the games inevitably have been, I don't know. I wanted someone much, much better. The girl from Andor Season 2, actually, I think would have been a good shout for it. The one who plays Cassian's girlfriend. I
think a few people in the comments of the Push Square article that we're reading from has mentioned that. Is it Elizabeth Dulau?
No, she plays the...
She's in Andor.
Yeah, she plays the girl who works in the antique dealer shop. That was her first. I mean, yeah, I guess her as well. Like, anyone who's just, I guess, shown me something more. Like, she does more acting in Andor than I feel like I've seen Sophie Turner do in a few shows.
You know what I'd rather them do is cast an unknown.
Yeah.
Someone you don't know. Like, so you can...
No perceptions on it.
The problem is that I think with Sophie Turner, it's the same problem I have with Tom Holland. I see Tom Holland the character too much now. I feel like I'd see too much of Sophie Turner in Lara Croft.
Yeah.
I want an actor to just disappear into the role.
Yeah.
Cast Tom Hardy. He's brilliant at that.
Yeah, he'll disappear in the role. And then final news story of the week to do with TV movies. This was a last-minute one that slipped in as we record late on a Friday evening, and that is Life is Strange is also getting a TV series. Also, Richie, with MGM, Amazon Studios, from Charlie Covell, Square Enix, Story Kitchen, and Lucky Chap. This is going to be going into production imminently. It's got series showrunners and such, who are famous for those aforementioned shows. Story Kitchen, never even heard of that, has always believed that Life is Strange deserves to be more than just a game. It's a cultural touchstone, said Story Kitchen's Johnson and Goldberg. After a decade-long journey, we're honoured to be bringing this beloved story to Amazon MGM alongside our incredible partners at Square Enix, our brilliant showrunner writer Charlie Covell, and the amazing team at Lucky Chap. Together, this thoughtfully assembled dream team is ready to share Life is Strange with the world in an entirely new way. Per the official logline, the story follows Max, a photography student who discovers she can rewind time when saving the life of her childhood best friend, Chloe. As she struggles to hone this new skill, the pair investigate mysterious disappearance of a fellow student, uncovering a dark side to their town that ultimately force them to make an impossible life or death choice that will impact them forever. And they go on to talk a little bit about the other games that I think unfortunately haven't sold as well. I can maybe see might be do or die for the Life is Strange franchise. At this point, they said they're excited with our global video Prime Amazon customers to experience the dynamic world. The series is in wonderful hands. Begin shooting in January 2026. So it looks like we're going to get Fallout this December. We're going to get Tomb Raider going into production next year alongside Life is Strange. What do we think, Richie? Is Max and Chloe's story played out in our lives far too much now, or is it making prime teen
watch a TV
drama
show. I think it actually could do really, really well as a TV show because it kind of already is.
I mean,
and if you take the first, say, well, if you do Life is Strange and Before the Storm as a single entity, there's 8 episodes of TV, like pretty much spelled out for you.
Yeah, like
you just need to
kind word character dialogue and options.
Pretty much, yeah.
What do you think they do with options?
You may be able to split it into maybe a 10-episode run, just to change up the pacing a bit, but I don't know.
It's interesting.
I feel like that's an interesting thing. Which way do they fall at the end?
So what you're telling me?
I feel like they'll probably. You know what they'll do. This would be a smart thing because when you play Life is Strange, you can see stats on what choices other people made. Just go for the most popular choice. Just go for the majority every single time. They have the stats on that. Yeah. Literally, they have it.
Yeah, you're right. What they should also do is cast Sophie Turner as Chloe and Tom Hardy as Max. And maybe Tom Holland is the teacher, just to mix things up with age groups and teenage angst. But yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think Life is Strange, I think arguably
it works.
Probably makes a better TV show than it probably does another video game at this point. But that's all we've got time for on this week's show as we wind down, Richie, because we're going to go play Helldivers 2 in literally 15 minutes time. We've got to do a quick turnaround time, wrap up this show, get our audio uploaded to the drive, and go kill some bad guys in Helldivers 2. But we do like to end every single show with looking back at this day in video games. We start the show, I don't know if you noticed, Richie, by talking about what we're playing now, in the current here and now. And then we end the show, we're looking back. It's such a nice little sandwich of time. Like Life
Have you even just noticed this?
No, I'm just making a point for the end of this week's show. We are recording on September 5th, so as we dive back into this day in video game history, Richie, what stands out for you?
I think we have to give a shout out to Destiny 2 7 years ago. Well, actually, that's in Japan. I was going to say, it wasn't Destiny 2 more than 7 years ago now?
Yeah, it was like early PS4, so...
So apparently, it came out in Japan 7 years ago on PS4.
Nice. I will pick out Loco Roco on the PSP. 19 years ago in 2006, we got the amazing Loco Roco, which made an appearance in Astrobot. And if you look on our channel, the Loco Roco short is one of our best performing videos of all time. I don't know why. People just apparently go loco for Loco Roco. What else have we got?
Warhammer, Space Marine 2, a year ago. That's been a year, Chris.
Yeah, since Space Marine 2, which is wild. Yeah.
Moving on to the 6th of September. Turok 3 Shadows of Oblivion. What a title that is.
That is a cool title, to be fair.
25 years ago.
That's the third one.
Yeah.
It's mad. It's wild to think we got 3 entries on one console. Again, we've just lamented throughout this episode of like how long it takes to get games out now. It's like, yeah, you got 1, you enjoyed it, he's 2. You enjoyed it, he's another one. Another thing I will lament on the 6th of September is it's been 14 years since we got a Resistance game. Resistance 3 launched on this date 14 years ago in 2011. And man...
And you know what? Why not? I'm going to shout out Destiny 2 again 8 years ago on PS4 and Xbox One. 2017,
Destiny 2. I tell you what, playing Gears did make me really want as well, was going back and playing Resistance. Like when I got into the part where you really fight like the monster things, like the, what's it called? Not the Goobrak, the big giant like tanky monster thing. I can't remember its name.
I've never played Resistance.
No, Gears of War.
Oh, Gears. Oh, yeah.
Gumrak. I can't remember what it's called now. Finished the game the other day. The big massive creature with guns and stuff on its shoulders and its head, running around like a destroyed city, chasing it and shooting at it and having the boss fight with it at the end was like, man, Resistance is so good and also similar in a lot of ways, except for it's a first-person shooter.
We do need to look at September the 7th because I think this is potentially one of the best games in video game days in video game history.
Well, we'll wrap out then with Disney Dreamlight Valley 3 years ago, which I know both you and me have played a lot of it, subsequently with our partners as well, have really enjoyed it. So shout out to a family-friendly game. I know my wife hasn't played in a while. I said to her, I was like,
my partner, she's fallen off it a bit. The platinum in that game is insane. I calculated, you know the night thorns you have to collect? Mm-hmm. I calculated if you, from the start of the game, went on every single day, you'd have to basically play every single day for at least a year to get the platinum.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
1 year ago today, Astrobot. Shout out. It's been a year already since Astrobot. Where's the anniversary content? Go on then, Richie. Wrap out the show with what came out on September 7th in video game history.
So we got Final Fantasy VII, 28 years ago. Final Fantasy VIII, 26 years ago. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, 21 years ago. We got Goes Be Quiet, Mark of the Ninja, 13 years ago. Marvel Spider-Man on the PS4, 7 years ago. 7 years ago. See what I mean? Solid day.
Shattered Dimensions as well, 15 years ago, which is a decent Spider-Man game. Wow. Looks like we are starting to get into that period of time, aren't we, as well, where really good games start to come out at a bit of a clip. Just like this show does. Every single Monday, we get together to round up all of the week's video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and available up there in the digital clouds. You just search for the GamerGuild TV or the GamerGuild Podcast and you will find us there. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to click like, subscribe and ring-a-ding-ding that bell so you kept in the loop with all of our great content like this very show, like our weekly live streams, which we're about to go do as we dive into Helldivers. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel extra a little bit further, you can click join below. Link is in the description. From as little as 99p, you get early access to some of our live streams, some of our shows, some of our retro content. But more importantly, you support us bringing this podcast every single week, like we have done for nearly 6 years now without missing a beat. This is episode 108 of the GamerGuild Podcast, but it's also episode 479 of our overall channel's existence. We're almost coming up on that 500 mark, but we'll get there soon enough. My name's been Chris.
And I've been Richie.
We've been GamerGuild TV, and remember, folks, play whatever makes you the happiest, especially if it's in a hell pod killing some enemies. For freedom and justice. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Dun 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 dun.